The closing checklist at our store has one line in bold. Do not use the back stairwell after 9 p.m. Last Tuesday, I broke it. I can tell you exactly how many steps I took before the counting behind me stopped pretending to be an echo. We're HarborMart, off Veterans Boulevard in Redwood City. The beige box with the perpetually flickering J in the sign. I'm the closing lead most nights. I sign off on the safe count, set the Honeywell panel, and walk everyone to the employee lot through the front. There's a second route. It's the metal fire stair behind receiving. Gray steps that sweat when it rains, walls painted a landlord's idea of white, a wired glass window at each landing the size of a pizza box. It smells like mop water and steel. New hires don't get told the stairwell rule like it's a ghost story. It sits on laminated paper on the back hall bulletin board, under the first aid poster. Black letters, red underline. After 9 p.m., do not use the back stairwell unless accompanied by management, and do not stop on any landing. People say it's about liability. Old stairs, old building. Someone fell once. That's the version you tell yourself when you'd rather not think about the other printouts that have come and gone on that same corkboard, the ones Becky pulled down during my first week and slid into a drawer like they were expired coupons. I didn't mean to break the rule. The front doors had wet wax curing and the night cleaner had already pulled the chain across. The freight elevator was dead. Key switch lit orange. Cage stuck 2 feet above the dock. I'd left my keys in the office. I didn't want to call Becky back. It was 10:08 by the wall clock in receiving. I remember because the second hand hiccuped at the 12 like it always does, as if reconsidering the next minute. I unhooked the panic bar on the stairwell door and read the taped paper out of habit. It was older than the HR flyers under it. Coffee ring near Rule 3. Smudge like a thumbprint in dust. Rules, back stair. After 9 p.m., 1. Keep moving. 2. Do not look through the window glass on the landings. 3. Count your steps out loud. 4. If you hear the chime, stop between steps 11 and 12. 5. If someone says your name, go up, not down. It reads dumber when you type it out here than when you see it in person. On the wall, the tape is browned and nicked and there's a notch where someone once tried to tear the page away and stopped. I started down, counting like a kid under my breath because Rule 3 felt like superstition you don't tempt. 1, 2, 3 metal gridding under rubber soles. 4, 5. The stairwell has that hospital quiet where every shift of weight answers you. At the first landing, I didn't look at the wired glass. I looked at the corner where the tread meets the wall and at my own hands on the rail. My nails were blacked by register ink. There was a smear I hadn't noticed. 6, 7, 8. The metal vibrated softly after each step, like a held-in cough. 9, 10. Somewhere above me, a door latch clicked once, then again like someone changing their mind. I said 11 because it felt stupid not to. On 12 the lights hummed, then settled into that bad Transformer whine. My tongue tasted like pennies. I told myself that was adrenaline. At the second landing there's a window. We use it to see if the night guard is doing her rounds. Sometimes you catch a slice of her yellow jacket moving past the lot. I kept my eyes on the exit sign, which was bleeding a little red onto the paint. That's when someone matched me. Not echo. Close. A full beat behind so I could hear my own heel. Then there's pressing into my heel print. It made the hair on my neck do that static thing. I didn't turn around. Rule 2 pressed against the back of my eyes. I said 13, 14, 15, and the other steps answered 13, 14, 15 like we'd practiced this routine before and I was late. There's a metal door on level M that opens to the mezzanine above Frozen. We don't use it much. The handle was wrapped in blue painter's tape like a mouth someone had sworn. A sign pinned to it by a thumbtack. Do not open after 9. On the glass of the landing window next to it, I saw a smear of light move like a slow hand. The lot was supposed to be empty. Our guard, Letitia, clocks 10 o'clock and sits in her Prius with podcasts. The smear slid upward against gravity, stretching thin. I kept counting. 16, 17, 18. My voice went papery. On 19, the chime. Not the store alarm tone, not a phone. A single bell note, soft as if someone 2 floors down had tapped a glass with a fork. Rule 4. Stop between steps 11 and 12 if you hear the chime. I was on 19. I froze anyway. There's an odd kid logic to rules like that. Obey the letter and it might let you live. Behind me, the other steps paused too. Air moved down the shaft as if something had leaned over the railing above me and exhaled. It smelled like old ice and dust burned off a toaster. I said 20. The echo didn't come. The quiet got so heavy my inner ear hissed to fill it. I made myself take the next step because I couldn't stand being a target with my foot hovering. The other counting resumed. Closer. 21. 22. I kept my eyes on scuffed paint. The risers had black crescents at the toes. On the next landing, another rule sheet was pinned crooked. It looked freshly changed. Someone had retyped the rules. Same header, same red underline, but no coffee ring. The tape was new, bright, not the nicotine yellow I knew. There was an extra line at the bottom that didn't belong. 6. If you tasted metal before the first landing, you're not alone. Keep your count uneven. The word metal snapped the penny taste back into my mouth like a trick. I didn't remember ever telling anyone that. I didn't stop. I said 23 because that felt uneven, then 25. On 26 I skipped to 29. The stairwell punished me for it. Each landing throws a pocket of air at you, and when I broke the rhythm, it came colder. My teeth pulsed. The steps behind me adjusted perfectly, smooth as language, like whoever was there understood what I meant better than what I said. The window on that landing leaked a thin rectangle of the lot. The smear of light from before wasn't there. Instead, the dark looked textured, like construction paper rubbed thin. I kept my eyes on the screw heads in the metal nosings. They had tiny moons of worn paint around them. People turn their feet the same way at the same angle when they're scared. There's comfort in patterns, even when you hate them. My phone buzzed in my back pocket. 3 hard taps. I wanted to cry at the normalcy of it. I angled it away from the landing windows and fired the lock screen. 10:08. No banner, no call. The second hand on the clock face widget stuck at the top, then fell past it with a visible stutter, just like the wall clock back in receiving. I don't use the analog face. I hadn't set that. I don't even know how. 29, 30, 31. The voice that said my name came from somewhere wrong. Not above. Not below. Inside the turn of the stair itself, like there was a space in the geometry for a throat. It wasn't Letitia, it wasn't Becky. It was me. I knew it the way you know your recorded laugh the first time you hear it and want to bury it. Rule 5 said go up if someone says your name. My heel hung over the lip of the next step. The air at my back felt thumbed, pressed. I rotated on my toes like a kid turning to step up a bus stair. The metal flexed, approving. The other footsteps reversed with me, still 1 beat back like a shadow practicing to be a person. The level M door was on my right again, even though I should have passed it already. Blue tape around the handle was frayed near the thumb, like someone too scared to grip had pressed and pressed. I said 32 and reached for the forbidden handle because I couldn't help thinking that a rule you're not supposed to use might be the only one that helps. The instant my skin warmed the tape, the chime rang a second time, louder, right in the bones of the stair. Between 11 and 12, the sheet had warned. I didn't have that luxury. I froze anyway, split between 2 numbers that weren't either of those. The other count stopped a fraction late, like whoever was with me wasn't expecting me to obey. The quiet after the ring felt identical to the moment right before vomiting body waiting to see which way the threat decides to go. A draft breathed up through the stringers, carrying the freezer-sweet smell of bagged ice. I pulled the handle. The painter's tape made a slow adhesive peel like skin. The latch clicked with the cheap indecency of a bathroom stall. Cold air folded over me. The mezzanine shouldn't open to anything but a catwalk above frozen. But blue spill and compressor drone rolled out like a lake in January. I slipped through and let the door ease back so the latch wouldn't snap and draw anything that could hear. It wasn't the mezzanine. It was the back of aisle 17. The freezer bank humming so hard the floor trembled. Frost muffled the lights, making everything candle bright. The wax job on the front run shined my reflection into a stretched smear, legs longer than they should be. I stood with my hand on the taped handle still, heart beating in my palm, and listened for the other steps. They were quieter, but I could hear them, a floor away, matching where I would have been if I'd kept going down. I kept thinking about Letitia out in her Prius. The window at the end of the main aisle showed the strip of parking lot under the 6-sodium. I could see the corner where she noses in, the dash glow you get when you leave the car in ACC to listen to something. The seat was empty. The glow was steady. The smear of light I'd seen in the stairwell glass wasn't there. Or it was, but it had intelligence. It waited to make itself matter until I'd look again. My radio, clipped to my belt, stupidly out of habit, coughed on as I slid along the freezer doors. We kill channel chatter at close. You shouldn't have had anything to say. A burst of static, thin like the sound a soda makes opening in the next room, and then my own voice came off it, counting. Not now me. Me from 3 minutes ago, breathy and trying to sound casual. I listened to myself say 13, 14, 15. The voice in the stairwell answered on the delay, and radio me spoke over it, unaware. I squeezed the casing hard enough to make it creak. I didn't transmit. I didn't push the talk button. The little orange light blinked anyway. I cut across housewares, keeping the end caps between me and the broad sightlines. I didn't want to be visible to anything at the window glass. The Honeywell panel at the service desk gave a polite single chirp like it missed being armed. On the mat by the vestibule, the janitor's chain lay coiled. The wet floor sign still open like a folding yellow mouth. The front doors were an aquarium of night. Letitia's jacket was on a hook by the photo counter. Shouldn't have been there. She never takes it off. Her name strip, Velasquez, hung at an angle like someone had worried it. I told myself she'd gone to the restroom. I told myself she'd texted me and my phone widget had just decided to be analog face for some reason. I told myself a lot of things. I reached the vestibule glass and put my hand to the seam. The suction difference on nights like this makes the glass kiss your palm. The outside air was colder, eddied into the warm from the strip mall lights like pond water. As I leaned, the chime rang a third time, but softer, like distance, like it wasn't warning anymore, but marking. I felt the urge to look back. I didn't. I told myself a store is safest head-on. I pushed. The doors gave reluctantly with a low throat scrape. The night wrapped me. You forget, working in fluorescent, how textured dark can be. Tiny gnats turning in place under the lamps. A skitter crossed the bumper of a waiting car. The hard white points of security nodes on rooftops turned to stars. I stood 1 foot on tile, 1 on sidewalk. The lot was emptier than it should be. Only my sedan and a pickup I didn't recognize at the far line. The Prius sat dark. The dash glow was gone. There was a paper square under my driver's wiper. I didn't put any paper there. I don't leave notes to myself. My keys were in the office anyway, locked under a folder because that's why I'd taken the stair. I had no business walking to my car. But rules make you do dumb things if they sound like absolutes. Keep moving. Do not stop on any landing. Do not look through glass. Do not glance right becomes glance right faster than your hand can refuse. The paper was a rules sheet. Same font. Same header. Same red underline. The tape was my tape, the good translucent kind I keep in the drawer behind tobacco so the others won't use it and tangle it. There was a coffee ring like the old one. At the bottom, in a handwriting I hoped and failed to not recognize, was an extra line in pen. If you hear your name outside, do not answer it. Do not count. Do not turn. Go back and end where you should have ended. I didn't remember writing that. But I knew the slope of the letters was mine, the lazy S, the way the F never closes. The back door of HarborMart thumped once. Air shoved through the vestibule like someone big had changed their mind in the stairwell and the building exhaled. Across the glass, the aisles shone a long brightness like the store was suddenly deeper than it is by 5 feet. I could hear it then, even from outside, the count. Mine from the radio lagging, and another closer, not echo, not footstep. Both wrong. Both thinking I'd choose. I didn't call out. I wanted to. I wanted to yell to Letitia, to Becky, to anyone. The rules on my windshield told me not to. I did what they said because the rules had known my taste and my clock and the way I wrote the letter F. And if something knows you that well, it will take whatever you give it and use it. I turned my back to my car and walked toward the front again. holding the paper at my side like it was evidence that could decide something in a court I didn't want to attend. Inside, the vestibule smelled like old mop water and cleaner gone sweet. The chain rattled under my shoe. The Honeywell panel lit green as if to arm. I slipped past the wet floor sign and back into the store, the paper vibrating a little in the HVAC like it had its own heartbeat. Somewhere down the left, a freezer fan threw a hiss over silence. Somewhere up the stair, metal flexed and someone who knew my voice tried to decide if I was above or below them. I didn't go back to level M. I didn't go down. I walked to the office. The door was propped, a rubber wedge asleep under it the way I never leave it, the way Becky never leaves it. A way that gets you written up if loss prevention is bored. My keys were on the desk where I don't leave them. Teeth up, like an animal showing its friendliness before it bites. There was a second rules sheet under them. The coffee ring was still wet. The tape was my tape. The last line was new ink, still shining. If you make it back to where you started and it's still 10:08, don't clock out. Don't leave by the front and don't leave by the back. Wait for the chime. When it rings again, move between 11 and 12 as if you were never told to. Do not let yourself hear you. I lifted my keys. The chime rung. Not in the stairwell this time, but in my head. The bone note like a fork against a glass 10 tables away at a wedding. My phone lock screen flipped to digital on its own. 10:08 became 10:09 with a normal tick, like a held breath finally given up. On the radio, my voice had caught up to now. It said my name quietly in the dead air, using my exact tone for saying it when I'm trying to make fun of myself so no one else will. The building waited. So did I. I sat with the keys in my fist and the paper under them, and I did not count, and I did not look through the glass of the office window at the stairwell door across the hall where a fresh sheet of rules had just been taped crooked. I did not read it. I kept still enough to feel the AC trip and stop, to count those cycles like seconds, and when the chime came again, soft, satisfied, as if something had found the number it wanted. I closed my eyes and took one step and did not look where I was going.